Hello students, in this video we are going to discuss about the galvanometer. In the last video we have done about the force on the current carrying conductor, and the next we have done about the force on the torque on the current carrying loop that was placed inside the magnetic field. Now we are going to start the fifth part of the unit, that is the magnetic effects of electric current and the magnetism. Now in this case we are going to discuss about the galvanometer. Which galvanometer? That is the moving coil galvanometer. Now what is the moving coil galvanometer? Moving coil galvanometer is a device that is used to detect the current in the circuit. Device that is used for the detection of the current, not for the measurement. It is used only to detect whether the current is present in the circuit or not. So that is known as the moving coil galvanometer. Now next is the principle. It works on the principle that we have done in the last video. When a moving coil, current carrying coil is placed inside the magnetic field, it will experience its torque. So this is the basic principle of the galvanometer. Next, what about the construction? In the construction, we have a coil. This is the coil having the number of turns having a coil, and we have placed a two horseshoe magnet with the north and the south pole to provide the radial magnetic field. Why we are going to use the radial magnetic field? The answer of this question I will give later. Now this coil is suspended freely with the help of the phosphor bronze wire. Then here is the mirror N, and in which we are going to see the pointer. Now this hole there are the two learning screws structure, and we have the two terminals, terminal T1 and terminal T2. These are used to connect this galvanometer in the circuit. This moving coil is wound on the soft iron core. So this is the construction of the moving coil galvanometer. Next, about the working. In the working, we have placed a coil, rectangular coil having the number of turns that is placed inside the magnetic field B, as we have already done. In this case, on the limit as the A, B, C, D, this current is flowing, I current is flowing through the coil, and due to this current, the force F1 is acting vertically upward on the arm AB, and on the arm CD, the force F2 is acting vertically downward. These forces are acting vertically upward and downward, and the magnitude of these forces will be equal. Line of action is the same, and due to these are going to cancel each other. Now what about the arm BC and DA? The forces F3 and F4 are again equal and opposite, but their line of action is also different, so they will contribute towards the torque. So this current carrying coil will experience a torque inside the magnetic field, and that torque we have already calculated is given by IAB into sine theta. If you remember that, it is the torque experience. This is in terms of the angle between the normal drawn to the plane of the coil and the direction of the magnetic field. Now next, if alpha is the angle between the plane of coil and magnetic field B, torque will be equal to IAB cos alpha. That we have already done. Now this is the torque experienced by the coil having the one turn. If this coil consists n number of turns, then the torque will be becomes n times. So due to this torque, the coil is going to deflect through a particular angle, and due to that deflection, the needle connected to this coil is going to deflect and we can take the reading. Now what about when the current is passing through the coil that is placed inside the magnetic field, it is going to deflect due to this torque. But when the current is removed, this coil will become to move at its original position, and there will be some torque that is making the coil to back to its initial position, and that torque is known as the restoring torque. This torque is called the deflecting torque, and the restoring torque is that torque due to which the coil is going to gain its initial position, and that torque is given by restoring torque. Restoring torque is equal to K alpha, where alpha is the deflection produced, and this torque is known as the deflecting torque. Now we are talking about the equilibrium condition. At equilibrium, the restoring torque will be equal to the deflecting torque, and the restoring torque is K alpha, that is equal to NBA cos alpha. From here, alpha will be equal to NBA upon K into cos alpha. This term is a constant, so the deflection produced is directly proportional to cos of alpha. Now we are going to make the use of the radial magnetic field. We are going to make the use of radial magnetic field. Sorry, one thing has left, that is the I. Or you can say that from here, you can take the one term also. The I is proportional to alpha upon cos alpha. Alpha upon cos alpha means deflection produced is not directly proportional to the current. It also depends on the angle of the plane that makes with the magnetic field. Now I want to make the alpha always 0. Alpha always 0 means the plane of coil is parallel to the direction of the magnetic field. To make the alpha 0, I am going to use the radial magnetic field. For that's why we are going to use the concave magnetic poles. The radial magnetic field is applied such that the deflection, or so that the deflection produced is directly proportional to the current, or the plane of the coil is always parallel to the direction of magnetic field. In that case, if radial magnetic field is applied, radial magnetic field is there, in that case cos alpha will be always 1 and I will be directly proportional to alpha. Alpha will be proportional to I. Means the deflection produced is directly proportional to the current flowing through the coil. So the radial magnetic field is used to have the linear scale, so that we can easily read the scale. Now next one is we have to define the next term in the galvanometer, that is the sensitivity. Next we are going to talk about make the discussion about sensitivity. Sensitivity of galvanometer. Sensitivity means the response of the galvanometer. Means the small amount of the current is going to produce the large deflection. In that case, the galvanometer is said to be more sensitive. Now sensitivity is of two types: current sensitivity and the voltage sensitivity. First thing we are going to discuss about the current sensitivity. Current sensitivity. What is the current sensitivity? In this case, current sensitivity means the deflection per unit current. The deflection produced per unit current is called the current sensitivity. Deflection per unit current means we are going to pass unit current through the galvanometer, and the deflection produced is called the current sensitivity. Current sensitivity is equal to deflection per unit current, and that is given by, as we have done, NBA upon K. This is the current sensitivity. Next is the voltage sensitivity. Voltage sensitivity. Voltage sensitivity is the voltage deflection per unit voltage. Means we have applied a unit voltage, unit 1 volt to the galvanometer, and the deflection per unit, that voltage is called the voltage sensitivity. And voltage sensitivity is given by alpha upon V. We have the alpha upon I. Now I can write the value of the V in terms of the I. Now V can be written as I into R. V is equal to IR. So it can be written as alpha upon IR. So alpha upon I to the value NVA upon KR. So this is the expression for the voltage sensitivity. This is the voltage sensitivity. Now next is the how we can increase the sensitivity. Sensitivity, either it is the current or the voltage, directly proportional to the number of turns. We can make the number of turns more to make the more sensitive galvanometer. But we cannot increase the number of turns to the large excess, because with this the galvanometer is going to be more bulky. We can increase the magnetic field by increasing the area of the loop, or by decreasing the K. By decreasing the K. So by decreasing the K, we can increase the sensitivity. We can use the material for which the K is very small, and for that we are going to use the phosphor bronze wire for the suspension of the coil. For the suspension of the loop, or for the suspension of the coil, phosphor bronze wire is used, because for that the K is very less. And if the K is less, the galvanometer will be more sensitive. Clear? Now next one is we are going to convert the galvanometer into voltmeter and ammeter. Next is the conversion of galvanometer into voltmeter and ammeter. To convert galvanometer into ammeter. Galvanometer directly cannot be used to measure the current. It is used only for the detection of the current. If you are going to measure the current, there is a need of the ammeter, because galvanometer is a low resistance device, and if you are going to connect the galvanometer for the measurement of the current, in that case the more current will flow through the galvanometer, and due to this there will be the chances of the damaging of that galvanometer. Now to convert the galvanometer into ammeter, let us suppose we have a galvanometer G, and we want to convert this galvanometer into ammeter of range I. Means we want to measure the current from 0 to I ampere. It can be 0 to 5, 0 to 6, 0 to 7, up to so on. Now for this we are going to connect a shunt resistance in parallel to the galvanometer. Shunt resistance is parallel to the galvanometer. Now this will work as the ammeter. This arrangement will work as the ammeter. That will note down the value from 0 to I. The total current in the circuit is the I. From that, let us suppose I flows through the galvanometer and Is passes through the shunt resistance. Now galvanometer and the shunt resistance are connected in parallel, so the potential across the galvanometer and the shunt resistance will be same. Or you can say that Is can be written as I minus Ig. Okay, both are same. Now Vg, that will be equal to Vs. Potential across the galvanometer will be equal to potential across the shunt resistance. Now Ig into G, where G represents the resistance of the galvanometer, that is equal to I minus Ig into S. From here you can calculate the value of the S. S is given by Ig upon I minus Ig into G. So this one shunt resistance we can calculate to convert the given galvanometer into ammeter from range 0 to I. We will put the value of I according to our requirement or according to our question. Now next one is to convert the galvanometer into voltmeter. We are going to convert galvanometer into voltmeter. We are going to convert galvanometer into voltmeter. Now to convert the galvanometer into voltmeter, we have to connect a high resistance in series with the galvanometer, and this arrangement will work as the voltmeter. Let us suppose we are going to make the voltmeter that is going to measure the potential difference from 0 to V. V can be 5 volt, 6 volt, 7 volt depending upon the conditions. Now let us suppose the current in the circuit is the I or Ig. You can name it as Ig. Now in this case, total potential is the V. Let us suppose Ig into G plus R. Ig into G plus R. From here you can calculate the value of the R. V upon Ig, that is equal to G plus R, or R will be equal to V upon Ig minus G. In this way, we can find the value of the capital R. We can find the value of the capital R means the external resistance that is required to connect in series with the voltmeter, such that this arrangement will work as a voltmeter. So voltmeter is the high resistance device and the ammeter is the low resistance device. Ideal ammeter has a zero resistance and the ideal voltmeter has the infinite resistance. With this we have done about chapter number 3rd, that is the force on the current. In the next video we will going to discuss about our 4th chapter. Thank you.